Imagine a world where the very industries responsible for polluting our planet are being subsidized by our own governments to the tune of billions of dollars every year. It's a staggering reality that's not only hindering our progress towards a sustainable future, but also perpetuating the climate crisis. A recent analysis by the environmental campaign group Oil Change International has revealed that the U.S. fossil fuel industry receives a whopping $31 billion in subsidies annually, a figure that has more than doubled since 2017. But here's where it gets even more alarming. This number is likely a gross understatement due to the lack of transparency and reliable data from government sources. The report highlights that these subsidies pose a massive barrier to decarbonization, a process that experts have long warned is urgently necessary to avert the worst consequences of the climate crisis. As Colin Rees, U.S. Program Manager at Oil Change International, aptly puts it, these subsidies allow for new production that would not otherwise occur, and to an enormous extent go to lining the pockets of shareholders and investors and fossil fuel executives. The analysis, which totaled up tax breaks, lower rates to acquire land and other resources, direct appropriations, and other financial support from the U.S. and government-funded groups, found that U.S. subsidies enable the sector to receive a stunning 30,000% return on investments. But what's even more striking is that among the biggest subsidies the U.S. offers oil companies is a federal tax rule that allows corporations to credit taxes and royalties they pay to foreign governments on overseas income against their domestic tax bills, effectively avoiding being taxed twice. Another major support measure is a tax credit for capturing carbon, which is often touted as a climate solution but is primarily used to extract hard-to-reach reserves in a practice known as enhanced oil recovery. And this is the part most people miss. Amid pressure from campaigners and United Nations climate experts, at least 53 countries have reformed their fossil fuel subsidies between 2015 and 2020. In 2021, Joe Biden vowed to begin eliminating subsidies for planet heating energy sources, stating, "Unlike previous administrations, I don't think the federal government should give handouts to big oil." Yet the U.S. is moving in the wrong direction on this issue, with Trump's signature tax and spend bill poised to hand fossil fuel companies an additional $4 billion per year across the next decade. The report also found that expanded credits for carbon capture and lowered royalty rates for coal, oil, and gas production on public lands could end up being even more valuable to the oil industry in later years. But here's the question. What if we were to redirect all U.S. fossil fuel subsidies to social programs? The report suggests that this could vastly improve life for ordinary Americans, providing 3 million families with SNAP benefits annually, helping 54 million households install solar panels within a decade, or sending 3 million children to Head Start early learning programs. As Rees so eloquently puts it, we're dealing with technical legislative language and components of the tax code, but despite that, I think it's important to understand that subsidies are political statements. They are political choices about what we're choosing to support as a country. So we have to ask ourselves, what kind of world do we want to create? One that prioritizes the interests of polluting energy companies, or one that invests in the well-being of its citizens and the planet? The choice is ours, and it's time to make our voices heard. But before we conclude, let's spark a conversation. Do you think it's justifiable for governments to subsidize fossil fuel industries, or should we be prioritizing renewable energy sources and social programs? Share your thoughts in the comments below.